Welcome back. We today are going to have another English Essentials lesson, today focusing on two mistakes with modifiers. As with all these lessons, they come from a book that I have called Everything You Need to Ace English Language Arts in One Big Fat Book, and I've adapted this lesson from pages 7 and 8 of that book. So if you ever want to know more about it, you can always go to that book, but this is some basic English stuff anyway. So here we go. So first of all, we need to know what modifiers are if we're going to talk about mistakes with them. So here's a definition of a modifier. A modifier is a phrase that enhances the meaning of an element of the sentence that it's in. And we've already talked about phrases, that phrases can function as the parts of speech: noun, verb, adjective, adverb, or preposition. And in this case, a modifier is usually going to be an adjective or an adverb because adjectives modify nouns and adverbs modify verbs. So another thing that you should know about a modifier is that you can take a modifier out of a sentence and the sentence will still work. It's just that the modifier is enhancing, right? It's giving more information to the sentence. Unfortunately, some people don't use modifiers correctly, and so the rest of this lesson is going to be about how to avoid misusing these modifying phrases. The first way that people mistake their use of modifiers is by misplacing them. So mistake one is misplaced modifiers. And when a modifier is misplaced, that means that the phrase or clause that is the modifier is placed somewhere in the sentence where you can't tell what it's supposed to be modifying. It's misplaced. You see it, but you don't know what it's talking about, essentially. And so if we look at this example, Batman watched the city standing on a gargoyle, we don't know what that modification phrase, standing on a gargoyle, is actually changing. And some people might read this sentence and say, wait, the city's standing on a gargoyle? That doesn't make sense. Now, of course, we know that no, the city is not standing on a gargoyle. Batman is standing on a gargoyle. But because we've put the modifier in the wrong place, some people will think that this is an adjective phrase that's talking about the city and not talking about Batman. So how do we fix it? Well, we put it in the right spot, right? Make sure that the modifier is near the thing that it's intended to modify. Since in this case, this is an adjective phrase that's meant to modify Batman, then we need to put it near Batman, right? So we could say either standing on the gargoyle, Batman watched the city, or Batman standing on the gargoyle watched the city. Either of those work, and in that case we know that this is an adjective phrase or a modifying adjective phrase that changes Batman, or it enhances Batman. The other way that modifiers are problematic is that they do something, or we put them in the sentence in a way that we call dangles them, or they become dangling modifiers. So that is when a phrase or clause modifies something that isn't even in the sentence. So you're saying you're adding this adjective or adverb phrase to the sentence, but there's no verb or there's no adjective for it to modify. So if we look at this example, anticipating the victory to come, Batman's cape billowed menacingly in the wind. People would read this and would say, wait, what is anticipating the victory to come? That's our modifier, right? A cape can't anticipate anything, can it? Right? Like a cape is just a thing. A cape doesn't have the emotional capability to feel anything, right? So we get confused. It's the thing that is anticipating the victory to come is not in the sentence. The sentence is about Batman's cape, and yet the anticipating is about something else. So how do we fix that? Well, we have to make sure that the thing that the modifier is there to fix or to enhance is actually in the sentence. So what we need to do in the case of this sentence is we need to add, we're assuming we're talking about Batman, right? Batman is the person or the thing anticipating the thing to come. So we need to add Batman into the sentence. We can do that like this. Anticipating the victory to come, Batman allowed his cape to billow menacingly in the wind. So instead of the sentence being about Batman's cape, the sentence is now about Batman. And so the adjective phrase anticipating the victory to come is connected to Batman, who is also allowing his cape to billow menacingly in the wind. So these are common errors that people make, and we will be working with this over the next week or so to make sure that we don't make them in our own writing, and hopefully we will improve our writing. Now let's see how we do at it.